In the world that we live in today, technology has improved by a lot. I mean, think back about 10 years ago to how technology would have been back then if you wanted to create a free-to-play title. It wouldn't have been that great compared to all the AAA companies who get funded and have a crap ton of money to put towards their games. But as time goes on, technology will improve. And if you think about how technology does improve, the things that are still pretty recent drop price very quickly. So allowing free-to-play title creators to get a hold of this technology is very game-changing because they can make games that are actually very good for a very minimal price, allowing it to be pretty much free-to-play for the audience. Now, is this enough, though, to make AAA companies actually drop the price of their games? I mean, right now, a standard AAA game will cost you about 60 to 100 bucks, depending on if you want a standard edition, the deluxe edition. Don't forget, yeah, like I just said, don't forget that there's additions to these games as well, let alone that there's $60 alone. They can still charge more for that. So, are they going to have to drop the price of these type of games? Let's take Fortnite as an example. Fortnite, of course, is free to play, and it is probably the #1 game in the world right now. Even though it's kind of dying down just a little bit, this game is still pretty much top played, top on the Twitch charts, and just top in everybody's hearts. Everybody loves themselves some Fortnite. And the way they make cash is by doing a battle pass. So basically, about every 3 to 4 months, they'll ask for $10, and for $10, you're not only supporting them, but you're also going to be unlocking a bunch of challenges, new skins, and a bunch of progression to actually make it through the game. Now, if you know me personally, you already know that I hate the Battle Pass, and I think it's a huge ripoff, but that's not the point of this video. That is for a whole another completely different topic. But the whole point that I'm making here is that they can still make cash for a free-to-play game, and you do not need to buy the Battle Pass. You're not basically pushed and forced to buy this thing. It's a free-to-play game first, and a free-to-play game always. It's no reason for you to have to spend $10 for this Battle Pass. You can still play the game regardless. That's your option and your choice if you want to actually do it. So are these companies like Activision and EA Dice or any of these people actually going to drop the price of their games? I mean, with new games coming on the rise that are free to play, that are completely wiping out player bases. I mean, let's be honest, Fortnite took over half the population of Call of Duty players. I mean, COD is dying right now because of Fortnite. And I mean, I'm not saying forever, Black Ops 4 might be a huge redemption for them. But at the moment, Fortnite completely stole their whole player base. And I'm not too sure about Battlefield. I don't think a lot of the Battlefield players went over to Fortnite. But I know a huge chunk of them went over to PUBG. And PUBG isn't free, of course, but it's definitely half the price of what Battlefield is. At least around 20 to 30 bucks for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds compared to a whole whopping $60 for Battlefield. Now, not all free-to-play games are good. I'm not saying that they're pretty much going to wipe the market clean, and every AAA designer is going to get knocked off and going to have to drop their prices instantly. I mean, Fortnite is just a tiny example in a huge, huge world of free-to-play games, and the majority of these free-to-play games aren't even that good. Fortnite just came up with a good idea that stuck with a lot of people, and it proves a point. If you have a good concept and a good idea for a video game, it might just take off, and you don't even have to put a $sign on that game. It will just blow up regardless. Now, all of this just leads to one point and one point only. Are the AAA companies actually going to drop their price because of these games, or no? And I mean, at this moment in time, there's not too much insane competition. The only competition at the moment is Fortnite. And every game has their moment. Every game dies down. I'm pretty sure everybody remembers when PUBG was insanely popular, and then what came along? Fortnite, and knocked them straight back down. So of course, there's going to be another game that comes out eventually down the road and completes the cycle, and Fortnite will die, that game will thrive, another game goes on, that game will die, the next one will thrive, so on, so forth. But there's always the titles that will stick around, such as Call of Duty, Battlefield, other things like that that will probably stick in place. So do they actually have to drop the price if their fan base is that loyal? At the moment, I don't think so. They don't really have a reason to drop the price of their games yet, which is kind of depressing for me because I'm very, very excited for the day when it comes that these games will be dropped down to like 30 or 40 bucks. That would be perfect, and it will save people a lot of cash, but at the moment, they really don't have much reason to. The only competition, like I said, is Fortnite, and that's pretty much it. So I mean, if it was more competition, they would have to probably drop it, but at the moment there's only one game that's actually taking the field over right now, and like I said, it's a cycle. So soon there will be another game that wipes out Fortnite, soon another game will wipe out the game that wiped out Fortnite, so on and so forth. It happens all the time. But be patient, everyone, because I'm pretty positive there will be a day where it will finally happen. Like I said, as technology grows and as time goes on, there will be more advantages for other companies to come out with more free-to-play titles. It's going to happen, and might be one day where free-to-play titles completely take over the marketplace to where it's a point where nobody's even buying these games anymore, and everybody just wants to play a free-to-play game because they're literally just that good. So when that day comes, these companies will decide to drop the price of their games, at least to $30 or $40, which is more reasonable, and I think people would cough up the money to play Battlefield, Call of Duty, and other AAA games if the price was that low compared to a really good polished all free-to-play game as well. But that sums up the video, everybody. I want to thank you all for tuning in. In my personal opinion, I don't think they're going to drop the prices now, but hopefully soon in the near future they will. Leave down in the comments on what you think personally. I always love to read them. Subscribe, like, share the video if you want to, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.